Hey, it's Phil here, and I have one more Q&A question come in, so this makes it Q&A number 13. Lucky 13, here we are. So Justice has asked me, I don't know Justice's last name, sorry, but Justice has asked me, how do you become a songwriter? Which is a large question, and I can give some starter advice here. The corollary, related question that I often get is, how do you become a comedian? So I'm going to try and answer both of those without going too lengthy here, but here we go. So the way to do either of those things, first of all, is to just start. Okay, but let's talk songwriting first. You have to sit down and write a song. Now, when I do this with my students, I have to fight them on the fact that their first song doesn't need to be good. And I tell them that your first song does not need to be good. It needs to be done. And that is the first step, is to write a song and finish it. It'll be a garbage song. Nobody's first song is good. All right. But you have to start by writing something. One of my favorite stories, my dad used to be a traveling salesman, and he would come home with stories about celebrities that he met in some airport, whatever. And one time he came home and he said, I ran into Paul McCartney at the airport. I'm always so jealous of these stories. He ran into Paul McCartney at an airport and he asked Paul, he said, Paul, have you ever written a bad song? And Paul McCartney said, I have trunks full of bad songs that nobody will ever see. So if Paul McCartney gets to write a bad song, we can all write a bad song once in a while. Nobody's first song is good. So that's the first thing, is just start, write a song. Now, there are training things that you can do. You can take songwriting classes and workshops. I've taken a few over the years. You can read books about songwriting. There's a billion of them, about lyric writing, all that kind of stuff. Andrea Stolpe has a book called Popular Lyric Writing that's really good for lyric stuff. I don't know anybody that teaches specifically comedy music lyric writing like I do. But hey, if you find somebody, good on them. I don't know anybody that does that. And then, so once you get started, then the next thing is learning how to listen to music critically. Sit down with songs that you like, analyze the structure of it. Is it just verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, chorus? Or is there some other things happening in there? Is there multiple bridges? Is there interludes? Look at the structure of that song. And then dig even further in it. Go into the chord progressions of that song. Look at the meters of the lyrics that are being sung. How many multiples are there? We work with 2s and 4s and 8s a lot in music. Maybe the song you're listening to uses a 3 for some reason. Repeat something 3 times is what I mean by that. So listen critically to your favorite songs. Look at the structure. Look at what makes those up. And that will start to give you some ideas. One of the things that I regularly do when I'm sitting down to write songs is I will go to my music collection, which is, 30, 40,000 songs, something like that. And I will just hit shuffle a couple of times, shuffle through a couple of songs until something kind of catches my ear stylistically. And I go, oh, okay, what could I do that's kind of in that vein? I'm not taking that song. I'm not using anything from that song, but I go, oh, I like the vibe and the energy of that song. How could I capture that? And then, or even like a title. I've oftentimes worked from a title or a lyric in a song that then my brain thinks about in a different way, and I'll start to write from that. So those are the basic ways to get started songwriting. Now, as far as what happens after that, what do you do with those songs? Are you going to record them? Are you going to try and sell them to other artists to record? And you're just getting the publishing deal on the back end, which, by the way, is a fantastic deal. What are you going to do with it from there? That's a whole other subject. And it is something that I spend every day in this office working on and connecting with you and connecting with people, the industry, and things like that. So that's the big lesson. It's just start, just write, and keep writing, and write some more. And when you don't think you have anything left to write some more, and then write some more. Take classes, read books, do that. That's fine. There's no harm in that. You'll find good ones, you'll find bad ones, whatever. Just, start digging into them. Ask other people if they have references for good books or courses or workshops or classes or whatever that is. Certainly there are songwriting organizations that you can join. American Songwriter, which I think is a magazine. Here in California, we have the West Coast Songwriters Association. Things like that can help you get started. And then the third thing is listen critically to music that you like, to music that you don't like even. That's an important part of it too. When I'm in songwriting mode, and I'm in critical listening mode, oftentimes I'm listening to music that I don't particularly care for just as a listener, but that song has something that I need for my song that I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so that's the basics of getting into songwriting. A lot of it is just start doing it and keep doing it until you get better at it. Comedy, not that much different. In comedy, the big difference is that with comedy, you can't just sit in an office or a studio and become great at it. You have to have an audience in front of you to test that material on. So the way that you get started in comedy is you put together 5 minutes of material. It's not necessarily going to be funny material. Your joke structure may be off. Whatever it is, you just need 5 minutes of things to go talk about on stage. And don't even worry about if they're funny. Try to make them funny, but don't worry if they're not funny yet. And then go find an open mic in your area. There's loads of comedy open mics all over the country, every single night. And there's probably one within 20 miles of you. I can almost guarantee it. So go find a comedy open mic. You might be able to do it at a music open mic. Music open mics don't generally, unless it's a specifically mixed mic, they don't like comedians coming in rare cases. I was able to do music comedy at music open mics, and I did stand-up at stand-up open mics. So find a comedy open mic. You're going to get a better, more receptive audience than trying to talk to a bunch of guitar players. And then go out and do it, because your first job as a comedian is just to get comfortable on stage. It's the hardest speed bump at the beginning, is just getting comfortable on stage talking into a microphone. I had my own experience with that. I'd been on stage for a decade before I got into stand-up comedy. But then there came the point where I had to put my guitar away and just hold a mic in my hand, and it was terrifying. But so you have to get used to that. Just being on stage, talking to an audience with the mic, learning your mic technique, learning how to put the mic stand behind you, all the little etiquette things that we have to deal with on stage. From there, once you're starting to get some of that under your belt, then it's about getting funny. Part of that is getting regular stage time, going up as often as you can, anywhere you possibly can. And at some point, you won't have to do that as much anymore. I still get up as often as I can, but I don't go to open mics anymore. It's been a long time, and I can't stomach them anymore. But at the beginning, absolutely, got to do that stuff. That's how you get good. Keep writing. Write every day. Edit like crazy. Take out every word that's not necessary. And just like with music, start critically watching stand-up and listening to stand-up. Watching is even better. There's plenty of comedy specials. There's a new comedy special. There's 8 billion comedy specials on YouTube for free from a zillion comedians. So start looking at those, but instead of just watching and laughing passively, when you hear that punchline hit and you hear that laugh happen, go back and go, what did they say? How did they say it? And where did they get to? Why did that punchline happen that way? One thing that I used to do was transcribe comedy specials. I did it with Jim Gaffigan specials. I did it with Stuart Lee specials, and a few others. And I would literally watch it, type the whole thing out on my laptop so that I could see what a good joke looks like on the page. How long is it? How do the words work? Because sometimes taking a word and flipping it with another word makes the laugh happen where it didn't before. So there's a lot of technique. Comedy is a science, almost more than it is an art. There's an art to it, but so much of it is science and psychology. So you can also get training for these. There are comedy, schools and comedy workshops and comedy classes that you can take. There are books. There's the Judy Carter Comedy Bible book. Jerry Corley has a lot of really good instructional materials. If you go to just Google Jerry Corley comedian, he'll come up. He's got a lot of really good stuff that I've used over the years. And then there's I've been looking recently at a thing called the Hot Breath Network on YouTube. Also a lot of really good advice there. And so it's the starting part. The starting part is the easy part. Put together 5 minutes of stuff, go find an open mic and start getting on stage. It's the art of improving over time, which we're all doing constantly. I'm taking a comedy workshop right now, and I've been doing this for 18 years. So there's always room to improve. It's not a writing workshop, it's a set construction workshop. There are a billion little details to deal with in both music and comedy. That's not even gotten into how to deal with the actual industry aspects of it and how do you actually, make a career of it and things like that. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about starting the art. Okay? Now, that said, you don't have to be a professional at this. A lot of professional songwriters and music artists and comedians get angry at hobbyists, and I don't. Because they're taking stage time that could have been mine. No, they're not. Work harder. just work harder. If a hobbyist is taking your stage time, you're not doing enough. So I don't mind hobbyists. Go for it. I think everybody should try comedy at least once. I think everybody should try writing a song because it makes you appreciative of the process and how much actually goes into creating the entertainment that we all love to see. So try it. Be a hobbyist. Try it out. If you don't like it, great. You don't have to do it anymore. You're not hooked into it. You might get hooked into it. It's an addiction. It's an addiction. But that's it. So the bottom line is start, make some things, show your friends, put it out there, and then work on getting better through all those various ideas. Okay? But show your friends. You don't have to distribute onto Spotify right away. Just write a song, show it to your friends, see what they think, get some feedback. All right? So I hope that helps Justice and everybody else that might be interested in learning how to become a nutcase like I am.